whoever wants to join in that little guided meditation, you can close your eyes if you want. And begin by taking a nice few deep breaths in and out. And with every out breath, see if you can release all the tension that might still be in your body or your mind. And then you can sink your awareness to your heart space if you want. And then imagine how from your heart a silver line of energy begins to flow down through your body, through your belly, down through your legs, all the way down to your feet, through the building and into the ground. And picture it sinking deeper and deeper, moving absolutely effortlessly through all the layers of the earth. Until eventually you reach the center of the earth, the heart of the planet. And whatever this feels like or looks like to you right now in your mind, it is absolutely perfect. And you're being warmly welcomed to make a strong connection to this place in whatever way feels natural and logical to you right now. And when you feel that you have made that connection in your own way, picture that earth core frequency now flowing through your silver line and traveling back up, same way you came. Through all the layers, back to eventually this space, this room. And then see that earth frequency flowing into your body, starting very friendly at your feet, moving up to your knees, along the way, embracing every single cell. And from your knees, moving up to your hips. Every cell begins to resonate in harmony with that earth frequency. Through your belly, up your spine, into your chest. And with the next deep and calm breath in, imagine that earth frequency flowing into your heart and filling it up completely. And then if you want, you can imagine that same silver line from your heart now, going on a second journey, this time moving upwards from your heart, through your throat, through your head, out through the crown chakra, through the building and into the sky. And higher, beyond the clouds, beyond the ozone layer, and into the cosmos. Your silver line flies into the universe absolutely effortlessly yet again, passing the planets and the stars this time, until eventually and automatically you arrive at the central sun of this solar system. And here too you're being warmly welcomed to make a strong connection to the absolute center point of the sun, however you imagine you would like to do that now. And when you feel that you have in your very own way also made that connection, imagine that solar energy then too, now flowing through your silver line and traveling back across the universe, back to this blue little magical planet that you call Earth. And that will be the topic of this transmission. And transport yourself in your imagination back to this country, this island, this region, and eventually this building. And imagine that solar energy then too flowing into your body, starting very gently at the top of your head, moving through your head, passing your eyes, your nose, your mouth, through your throat, back of your neck, into your chest and between the shoulder blades, like a blanket of love wrapping around you. And with the next deep and calm breath in, imagine that solar energy tube then flowing into your heart and merging with the earth frequency that was already present there in a never-ending golden spiral. And if you want, you can for a moment put one or both of your hands on your heart, just for a moment, feel your heartbeat, anchor there, land there. For this is where heaven meets earth within you, and it is the door through which we speak, the window through which we see at this moment of your time. For we are here and we thank you for the invitation of the co-creation of this here and now. First of all, we are very excited to announce to you the theme or the subject of this particular transmission in this beautiful place that is, no coincidence, located in such a natural environment. The theme of this transmission is Earth calling. Earth, Gaia calling, speaking, singing. Because she is, very much, your planet is, her own entity, her own being. She has, very much so, her own consciousness, as do you. And the way we see it, you are all that lives on her surface, you could say, extensions of her consciousness. But you, as sentient beings, and you are not the only ones on your planet, as you might know, there are dolphins, there are multiple species that are sentient in that way. You have a particular role to play in the exploration of this physical reality as you create it to exist. And Gaia, the earth herself, plays that game with you. She sings, she resonates like, you could say, one of her energy bodies could be translated in the idea of a crystalline being. And if you would see that as perhaps the idea of a crystal singing bowl, she is constantly resonating. And there is a waveform emitting from her heart, from her core, in her motion. And now, by now, where you are with your science, you have understood that there is the idea of an earth energy frequency. And there are translations that have been given to that along the lines of the idea of, amongst others, these solfeggio frequencies. And now you are beginning to experiment, not for the first time, but you are yet again returning to the point where you're beginning to experiment with these types of frequencies in your music, in your sound, in your toning, as a tool for meditation and what have you. But more so, you are using these energy frequencies to align yourselves and bring yourself in resonance harmony with your planet. You do so when you are obviously entering nature, when you are allowing yourself to freely be your true natural self, surrounded by the loving arms of Gaia in that sense, breathing the fresh air, connecting to the planet in a way that feels good for you, immediately aligns your cells into that energy frequency. Your scientists by now have understood that even when people, even if they would be located in a busy city with not many trees there, just observing the picture of a tree and the way the branches grow and evolve, just looking at that creates a brain wave state that is positively affecting all the cells in the body. It aligns you again with that energy frequency, with that song, because you resonate with it. You understand on a subconscious level, seeing the structure of the way branches grow in the Fibonacci spiraling manner, in the Fibonacci rule, the golden means, how everything on your planet evolves through that sacred geometry measurement system, you could say. By seeing that, by observing that, by feeling that, by breathing that, by being in a surrounding that sings according to that tone, that has shapes according to that same, you could say, system, brings you in full alignment with your own higher self and allows you to discover parts within yourself that were formerly unseen. It brings you home, it brings you to your core. Now, your Earth is very excited also about exploring a wider range of routes of potential within all that is, you may understand, perhaps, and otherwise we will explain to you now, that everything wishes to be explored. All potential, all possibilities in that sense, wish to be explored in one way or another. In order to allow this to unfold, particularly when you are playing your game, as a species, as you are, sentient beings, the human race, you may feel an eagerness on subconscious level or higher self level to explore Gaia with your race in a particular manner. You understand perhaps the idea of the subconscious collective, the collective subconscious. There is a field, a blueprint level that lays out patterns in many different ways. And this is what you observe in the physical as the way things unfold or manifest for you and your collective at any given moment. Now, where you are right now on your planet, you can tune in with many different pathways and possibilities that are able to play out on the surface of Gaia, on the surface of your Earth. And your Earth loves you so much that she is willing, you could say, to play an infinite amount of different games with an infinite amount of different societies of humanity to explore within all that is, all that might possibly be explored. This is ongoing, this is infinite, and it stretches out broad and far. Now, to keep it a little bit closer to home or down to earth, or this one as we are speaking, you can imagine potentially that there are crossroads available for you now that you can come up with. When you can imagine these crossroads, that means they are valid versions of Earth. If you can imagine a version of Earth where society develops in a particular direction, in that moment you're actually already through the blueprint level, cross-connecting with that version of Earth. And by introducing it to your here and now experience, you can then respond with your emotional compass and allow that to have you see in the daylight, to bring onto the table whether you choose to believe you resonate with that version of Earth or not so much. As we have said many times before, we always recommend that if it feels in the flow for you, that you, by thinking of the future as you create it from the now, that you spin off nice tales that resonate and that are in alignment with your heart. Whereas if you would choose, which of course you are always free to do, to worry more and to look at the quote-unquote future in a lower energy frequency way, you are not only tuning in with a version of Earth that is already actually experiencing that, you're also creating it in that moment. So this travels in a sense both ways. You're tuning in with a simultaneously existing reality, a simultaneously existing dimension that already has a type of solidity, a type of probability to it, and a certain possibility to it. And for you then, it is the reflection that you receive from it through your emotional compass that you can use to see what you believe could be true for you. We know your mind is, you could say, naturally geared to go and explore into your imagination, to allow to come in, to flow through you, all kinds of scenarios and options. And we would like to let you know that you can steer that into a direction that is to your preference. But also that if it does not actually go there, then you can still send love and honor the version that you have just cross-connected with for a moment. Now, your Earth is playing a very long, you could say, linearly looking at it, storyline into realization. Whereas right now, you collectively have asked for a pretty obvious split. So where you are right now in the acceleration of what you call your awakening, more and more people becoming more conscious of their own God, Goddess, creatorship, you could say. Within that acceleration, you can see a lot of overlapping versions of Earth that are still physically available for you to tune in with. You can see people that are, you could say, geared to navigate into a direction of future Earth that you are not at all wired to quote-unquote end up on. Now, why would you do that? Why do you think would you create for yourself so much polarity and acceleration of contrast all of a sudden just before you are about to take a nice leap or a nice, you could say, spin-off or exit, quote unquote, to the right, because you like that direction and you do not so much prefer the left. But now, why is the left more in your face than ever before? It is because you love yourselves so very, very much that you wish to be 100% certain of the direction that you say you desire, that you say you wish to choose. So you are double checking, triple checking. Many doors are opening for you, and it is up to you to choose whether you wish to walk through them or close them. So, in this particular case, you send yourself an acceleration of the probable realities that are available to you right now. Because right now is when you are being asked, in a sense from your own higher self's point of view, to make a decision. Where do you wish to go? Which direction do you wish to follow into? How do you wish to think about yourself and other people, the world in general? And as you ponder all of these thoughts, you are one of the many infinite extensions of Gaia herself, as she is pondering along with you what direction she will carry you, but also she will allow herself to be led into by you. So this is a two-way stream. Can you follow along so far?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You create the earth, and simultaneously you are an extension of her grander being. You create together. You create the split. You have asked for it, to make it a nice little poem. So you get to choose what direction. And especially right now, it is becoming more and more important to be very clear about what you choose to believe. So mind your words. Mind your expressions. Mind those little, you could say, immediate and spontaneous reactions that are not so much responses, but more programs of the quote-unquote past that you have brought into the now. Listen to yourselves. First of all, listen to how the earth and your surroundings respond to you in return, to how you choose to put yourself out there. What you put in is what you get back, and there is this infinite guiding system of ongoing synchronicity backing you up. This is a really exciting time, and we see many varieties of Earth stretching out in that way, of which some still of a very low energy frequency, because she loves you so much, Gaia does, that she will shape herself in a split of herself to carry that exploration, if needed, to a dire end. She also loves you so much that she will split herself off into versions that will carry you into a very open and conscious connection to the cosmos, to the stars, where there is a lot more, you could say, doors opening for you to expand through, to expand yourself in, and her with you, and she with you. So, we can give you a little bit of a sneak peek from the quote-unquote future of one of these positive spin-offs of Earth to get your own imaginational ball rolling into a direction that might be fun. How does that sound?
Good.
Yes? Okay, thank you so much. So, as we are already in contact with one of these future Earths, where we are also, you could say, among your species and have been accepted, or in the process of being accepted more and more, but it has been accepted generally that we are amongst you in that time frame. We're not going to pinpoint it right now, but we will give you a few markers along the road of changes that have taken place in that version of Earth for it to evolve to where we are speaking from to you right now. So that is from the future, although everything is here and now, and that is why you can hear us now. So, one of the marker points is the lifting of several of the boundaries between particular countries. More so, the idea of unity creation. Funnily enough, a lot of this has already started on your version of Earth, and the idea of the United States of America was actually a kickoff into that direction. The initial energy frequency of that idea was in alignment with, you could say, your higher self's collective understanding of what would lead eventually, or could lead, to world peace. Now, you've taken a slightly different turn with that idea, but you still have that foundation there. The same goes in a sense for the EU, as a grouping of countries that agree on being together in one way, shape, or form. These are all steps into the direction of lifting boundaries and becoming more of one world, and increasingly, you could say, planting the idea of a one planetary consciousness among your species. So the version that we're speaking from has a lot more of that unity consciousness going, and the bigger united fields are also in harmony with each other. To give you an example, for instance, China, Russia, and America are no longer standing as a very exciting opposing triangle. So we can tell you that. We can also tell you that a lot has changed in the idea of social media and communication. It has been put to, let's say, work in a very beneficial way for the people in local areas, so that there is a very quick and instant communication possible for people that need something or that wish to offer something. Also, the idea of the news has changed magnificently on the version of Earth that we are now speaking from. The way you still observe it, the news is being brought to you as pretty much a long list of things that have gone wrong, generally speaking. For us, the news stations, which have multiplied, there are now many, they are local and they are connected to, you could say, hubs that are grander. Everybody that feels a call to respond to the news that is not brought as a fact, but brought as an offering, a suggestion, a question, an open, you could say, suggestion that people can jump into. Everybody that wishes to respond to that can do so and can be heard by committees that scan the responses and send people where they wish to go. In other words, if there is a flash flood somewhere and there is need of help, it is still being communicated through the idea of the news, but everybody who wishes to volunteer to fix that can immediately jump on board. And there is no passive waiting for what your news channel will tell you tomorrow has eventually happened in the area of the flash flood, which is a major shift of focus. Do you understand? So that is another shift that has taken place on our version of Earth, or is spreading. This particular system is very efficient and is working. It also works in the idea of science, biology, agriculture, you name it, because wherever there is, you could say, the idea of the hitting of a ceiling by a few scientists or a few farmers, and they can't really seem to figure a particular challenge out on their own. It's being put out to the more local news stations, stadiums, and then the surrounding areas can join in on that line of thought. And your solution rate, or the tempo wherein solutions are being found, there is hardly a number that we can give to that. It has multiplied so quickly that the thriving of your planet is peaking at the time that we are speaking from, due to this. People understanding that when they observe a particular scenario, that they are free to act on it in a way that resonates with them, and they can actually mean something, and it will be supported. There is a system, a financial system, to support all of these people on their ways. Transportation, etc. Like we said, there are committees that arrange the practicalities for this. So that is a big shift. Obviously, the environment is a lot healthier by now, no offense, but the idea of labeling foods as organic, we would say is no longer needed, if you understand what we're saying by that. There's no difference between that and everything else. The idea of toxins have been brought back to an absolute minimum. We are only using right now, or you are only using right now, natural versions of particular tools that are now being used chemically in most occasions. Now, the version of Earth that we're speaking from, this is really interesting as you're listening to these few examples that we are giving, may trigger within you, very interestingly, enthusiasm or disbelief or even hopelessness. And we understand that because your mind is free to choose how probable it finds these particular messages to be within their own scheme of the version of Earth that you're looking at now. So the open invitation for you to accelerate your journey to a version of Earth that is in higher resonance, that is in full alignment with your higher self, is to take this information and double check with yourself, how does it make you feel? After the perhaps initial joy and excitement about hearing this, what is your right next thought? What is the second thought that you have about this? That sounds wonderful, but it will never come through in my life. If it is something like that, we recommend you tune in with yourself and see if you can gently find some, if necessary, in between steps for your rational mind to be able to take that leap and find it more belief-worthy, more probable, more relevant perhaps for your life, this incarnation. With this acceleration, a lot of things are possible that we know you would have never held for possible. And as you follow your heart, as you follow your highest excitement, in any given moment, to the best of your ability, without any insistence as to what the outcome ought to be, you will find that more and more miraculous and positive synchronicities come your way, anyway. But even if you do already that, to the best of your ability, you may still once in a while run into that little barrier of disbelief or helplessness regarding these bigger themes particularly. We know what a numbing effect these themes can have on you where you are now when you hear about quote-unquote negative news. What a wave of helplessness can ripple through your society in the hearing of another quote-unquote natural disaster or anything like that. Which are all co-creations, by the way, which are decided on in your higher self's blueprint level. You all did have a say in that, although you were not rationally aware of it. You sent yourself these reflections in order to invite yourself in the persona self level that you know yourself to be right now in this incarnation, to think out of the box, to think beyond the circumstances, to see over the fence in your mind, in your heart, and then see if you can get your rational mind on board. Because that is key for manifestations like the ones that we just shared with you, those you could say flashes from the future, for those to actually manifest in your realm. Your rational mind needs to be able to believe it, that can be true. So if you need some in-between steps, by all means, focus on the positive news that you can find wherever, and you can use it as proof if you feel that would work for you as a permission slip to let the rational mind know, look, baby steps are already being made. This one in that direction, this one in that direction, and so on. Train your focus to see the beauty, the love, the light that we know is hiding inside every single one of you. This is what wanted to come through most strongly at this moment of your time. We thank you all for tuning in to this future version of Earth that we are joyfully speaking from today. And we invite you to continue, if you wish, in sharing our question and answer with us if you so desire. Be welcome.